Yes.
working.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order because the computer tells me we're almost 6:01, so. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So you don't know how much material...
So, consideration of any changes or additions to the agenda.
The updated road standards.
We have the one for updated road standards. We'll put that down at the bottom of new business. Jeff, Diane, any others?
I don't have any.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Approval of minutes of January 13th special meeting and January 13th regular meeting and January 22nd special meeting.
Oh,
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve all three special meetings and regular meetings as they have been written.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, reports. The town crew had to head out, so the highway and transfer station. Clinton didn't give me any other updates, so we'll jump over that one, and if he happens to make it back during the meeting, we'll revisit that.
I think the only thing just for the meeting minutes was just, we did apply for an obstruction, tree removal and some ledge removal
Yes.
grant with no match required. So that went in last week. That was about $46,000.
And he did leave these two that were bids for tree removal. There's one that GM Tree Tech put in for removal of one tree. The cost of cutting the tree down is $1,200, but the crane that they had to hire to reach it is $3,600 for a total of $4,800. Then McCullough Brothers Incorporated Tree Removal. This is a 4 to 5 man crew, 2 days worth of work, $4,500 per day, unlimited amount of trees that they can take down in that 2-day period for a total of 9,000. They need 9,000. So the one thing McCullough's requested, if we go with that, to let them know as soon as possible. That's the one thing Clinton asked me about. And
I'll speak to that for a minute too. So I've been trying to get one cut in the Carlton Cemetery since last August. And he told me in November he wasn't gonna get to it, so we tried to get somebody else. And the museum needs one too, so.
this included that.
Right, so, but it's a lump sum, so somebody needs to at some point let the museum know. I think it's around $600 or $700 for the one there, and the cemetery one, I'm sure the treasurer will be glad to transfer the funds from the cemetery fund that was approved. But I wouldn't hold my breath for GM Tree Tech, because I don't think didn't sound like he's gonna get to it or wants to do it, I don't know.
Right. So, and again, Bowley was gonna show the McCulloughs, the ones on Star Lake Beach and various different trees, Branch Brook Road, the cemetery, the museum. So, McCullough Brothers, again, 2 days worth of work. If it's 30 trees, it's 30 trees. It's the same price.
You need a motion?
Well, we'd have to have a motion to have these guys for 2 days, but I don't know what's in the tree fund. I don't know if you have that available, Liz.
What was the total on the bid again?
9,000 for 2 days worth of work, unlimited amount of trees.
But you're gonna get reimbursed for some by the museum, and some will be transferred from the cemetery. So it's
Right.
probably under 7, I think, or
Yeah.
65.
Do you hear, Dennis?
Yeah. I know without both here, it's hard to say, because I don't know what
Right.
is needed versus if you wanted to move funds from somewhere else essentially, because there's not, in our official free budget items, we definitely don't have 7 or 9,000 allocated, but if it were part of, outside summer services or something, I would be fine with it. I'm just not sure where that makes sense from Bobby's perspective. I don't know if it sounded like he wanted to proceed with it or not when you spoke to him.
I believe he wanted to proceed with McCullough.
Yeah, I think, I would definitely recommend them after I talk to others. But I think, the ones on the town roads come from the town highway, is that true? That's why I was thinking, when you said there wasn't quite enough, well, that's to do with the cemetery and stuff. But the town road one would pay the balance, I thought.
Well, we just don't have a specific tree line in the town highway budget, so that's why I was wondering where Bobby stood on it. It sounds like he wants to proceed, so it's, I'm sure he's thought about it, then where it would come out of the budget. So, I think that makes sense.
How about we utilize that ash tree $2,500 budget
Absolutely. 'Cause
reimbursed for this,
that's part of it.
reimbursed from the museum and what was the other? Museum and
In the cemetery.
fund.
Yep.
And it's
Does the
nothing to
cemetery-
do with July 1st, the next year's budget, it's
Right.
this
Yeah.
period, right
Now
now.
it's scheduled for ash tree removal this year, so
That's right.
we can utilize that money. And then we're just taking outside services $5,000,
Yep.
which we're at currently. I just have the number for outside services somewhere.
It's still pretty low right now, if we're looking for summer road
9,200
outside
versus
service, it's
25.
9285 out of 25,000, but, I know that's, when spring comes finally and we switch back over to needing to do some hauling or anything else, really, that's road maintenance or highway maintenance related, that's kind of the line item.
Most of it is, I would believe.
So it'd be like 5,000 out of that, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right, and some of the trees, they have to come down. There's 3 of them on Healdville by the Flander farm that's encroaching over the highway coming down.
You said
So,
Branch Brook was
and
another.
Branch Brook is another one by the Scully place that needs to come down, and that's the one that the lines are through the wire, or through the branches. So,
I'm sure we have no shortage of trees.
no, so,
I'll make a motion to proceed with the McCullough's price for 2 days, utilizing the ash tree budget plus outside service, summer outside services, and also transferring from the cemetery fund, plus requesting museum funds.
There we go, that's it.
I'll second it. The ayes? Aye.
Can I ask whoever is on iPad 106 to identify yourself, please?
Still not sure that they have audio.
iPad 106, can we have a name for the records?
kinda looks like we don't have audio, because there's no
No
microphones.
audio.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have audio.
The chat's turned off, so.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to town treasurer update and monthly income and expense report. Liz?
So, the month of January, again, it's similar to last month. There's not a ton of activity, month over month. The fund, cash that we've collected for taxes, we send a big monthly check to the school. That's where, funding the education fund. There were, again, reasonable, collections on the delinquent taxes came in and will be reflected. There was about 30,000, overall. So that's a good portion of the remainder of the delinquent taxes receivable. We did also receive the portion of the paving grant reimbursement for the paving that was done on Porterville, and the remainder of it should be coming in any day now. The state actually had a little hiccup in the way they dispersed it. So hopefully they'll get that finalized in the next, before the end of this month. So yeah, we received about 60,000, just under 60,000, and they should be getting, it's 200,000. So to be hopefully deposited any day now, but that's the big activity in the month. Obviously the highway crew is busy, but being down to two and a half guys instead of a full third person, there's really no overage there to speak of. Just busy for the guys on the crew. I think those are. We did receive grant proceeds that flow through the town for Lake Nineveh. Part of that was for the Conservation Commission, but most of it we will write a check and it goes to the Nineveh Foundation. So you'll see that under grant receipts this month, but it's a pass-through grant that helps fund the work that they do up at Lake Nineveh. I don't know if anybody on the board has any questions about anything in particular. There's nothing else that jumps out at me for the month of January.
I'm all set, Liz. Jeff, Diane?
Yep.
I'm good.
I will say, Faith, I don't know if you got my email enough time to print out. There's a final letter to be signed in order to accept our fiscal year 2025 audit.
Yes, I have that one as well as the contracting.
2026 engagement.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the 2025 audit, that is, once we send them this letter back, I'll sign it, as well as Mark signing it as the select board chair. to accept the final package, and then I'll, if we can hope, I don't know if we'll be able to post the full thing on the town website or not, but we'll get copies, available, because unfortunately it was not in time to go into the town report. We usually take a section of it and put it into the printed town report. But it's also always available at the town office, and if anyone wants a full digital copy, they are always welcome to request that. So just a note, and Diana, I'm planning to send you kind of the selection that would normally, or maybe not the whole thing to go into the chit chat, but the main financial statements,
Do it later.
if those can get fit into the February chit chat.
Be March. It'd be for the March
Sorry?
issue, before the March issue. Cause the February's out.
Yes. Sorry, I think of the one that comes out at the end of the month as the February one, but yes, it would be for the March issue. Yep. And then so for the fiscal year 2026 audit, there's been major changes to auditing standards in our firm, the audit firm that we've been using and that we had planned a 3-year engagement with has really, they're front-loading a lot of things. There's a lot more planning involved, so they're asking for the engagement letter to be signed now, as well as a large deposit to be made. So I think it makes sense to do both pieces. Is really, I don't think we'll get a better price or even maybe find another auditor if we were to switch right now, but just to share why it's so early, some just changes in standards and changes in their firm's procedures.
Okay, thank you,
That's
Liz.
it for me.
Any questions for Liz?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, moving on to Lister's report. I know Mary isn't here, but Faith has,
Yeah, Mary asked me to pass on to you for signature the certificate of no appeal following the lodging of the grand list. There are no appeals, and also there is the request to sign the contract with CAI, who basically provide map services. So that's to be signed when we've finished everything else, I think.
we need a motion for this one.
Yeah.
Next one.
The 3,000, she didn't say anything about the
All right, client shall pay 3,000. So I think we have to make a motion.
Yeah,
This is just-
this is the second copy, we just need to
Okay.
sign two.
So, this is for the listers. So it's a $3,000 cost. I think that's something that we do every year.
Yes.
So just need a motion to accept.
Okay, we make a motion, we accept the tax map maintenance proposal for the town of Mount Holly for, processing data recorded from April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2027,
For a cost of $3,000.
for the cost of $3,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
The ayes?
Aye.
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 Okay, we have that back,
Yeah.
we need to sign two of those.
Okay, moving, planning commission update.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Do you get new paper maps with that? We have the paper maps.
What's in there, like what's in there, I believe
We get an
so.
updated paper.
We
Yes.
get an updated lister map, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
they do that every year.
Okay, planning commission update, John?
Yeah, I want to start out by thanking Andrew Seward for his many years of service for the planning commission. I'm personally sad to see him go. He did a great job for the town, so I want to start with that. We had 2 subdivision decisions, both approvals for Wagner near Lake Nineveh and the Gregory Kelly subdivision, which was a gift conveyance. We are, I think this week, Jeff, wrapping up the final comments on the housing study. I don't know if you guys
Last,
have
we
seen
kind of extended the deadline for comments, but have really gotten minimal comments back.
I don't know if you want to say anything else about that, but
No,
we haven't gotten anything for the
really minimal.
presentation we gave too, so.
We'll have a final plan for March. I would say March regular meeting to,
Yeah, the next
think-
week or so,
yeah.
I think is her goal, so that should be coming. And the select board, hopefully will be able to use that going forward. I know the planning commission will be looking at that and what the recommendations are for our future. I'm going to be taking a VLCT training on the Community Housing and Infrastructure Program, which is somewhat related to the housing issue. My understanding is there's like $2 billion or something, a lot of money available. So we'll see how hard that is to obtain and what it can be used for. I can report back on that for you. We have, I haven't really looked at it, but Faith tells me we have a boundary line adjustment for Schaefer that we'll be looking at the next meeting. And ongoing work on the subdivision regulations updates. So we have, I think, 80 pages to look at from Cavendish. Like all of us are taking our time getting through that, so it's taking some time. And I guess lastly, I wasn't present at the last special meeting, but I know there was some mention of some of the conversations around the store. I would prefer not to address them today. I think we now have agreement from all concerned parties that it's time to move on. But I have submitted a letter to you with a lot of detail, and I think that's primarily for record purposes. So if you ever have to look back and see why we made the comments we did, all of the references and citations are in there. So hopefully we can all sort of move forward and get back to doing the town's business and hopefully cooperate on all the things that need to happen up there. So unless there's any questions from the board, I'd like to leave it at that.
Question, is the housing study online, so we grab it?
Yeah, I can email you a link.
Great,
I'll do it.
Thanks.
I forget.
Any other questions for John? John, thank you. Again, on the new business, we have a vacancy on the planning commission, and again, I'd like to thank Andrew for his dedication and service to the planning commission. Great young man, did a great job, sad to see him leave. So with that, anybody that is interested in the planning commission, please submit a letter of interest to the select board. And that's a continuation of Andy's term, which will end November of 27. So this would continue the term until then. And we have a vacancy on the Board of Adjustment alternate. And again, if anybody is interested in the Board of Adjustment alternate, please send a letter to the town select board, and this is a replacement, unfortunately, for Dave Johnson, who has left us. And again, that's a continuation of Dave's term, which ends November of 2027. Along with that, while I'm on that comment with the loss of Dave, I know we had talked about doing something for Dave, and I want to make it so it's official. I'd like to make a motion that the town puts a small plaque together and hang it in the town office for the many, many years of dedication that man has had to the town of Mount Holly, the fire department, and everything else. So is there a second?
I'll second.
The ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
You're talking what, 40, early 80s he started?
Yeah. He's,
Well, the fire department started in the,
oh, he was just a young man. He 56 years, 57 years in the fire department alone.
He was treasurer
For a long time.
for mid-80s or so.
Name the coffee machine after him.
So, with that, we'll put a small plaque together and for the dedicated service of Dave Johnson for the town of Mount Holly.
Sorry, I must be early now. It's iPad 106. iPad 106, could you give us your name, please?
iPad 106, we need a name for documentation for the town meeting, or the town select board meeting. Please.
Just list who's there, and your name doesn't show up.
So again, if anybody is interested in the planning commission or the board of adjustment, please send a letter in. Okay, moving on. Ludlow Mount Holly High School Union presentation on school budget. Mr. Millington.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a place where it's better for me to be for? Gotcha. There is a sheet around for the presentation, if folks need.
there's some on the table.
Yeah, there's some on the table.
Anybody want one?
So, actually, to kind of start, and thank you for having me. If there's questions along the way throughout the discussion, feel free, just interrupt, because it's really about getting information out to folks. I want to make it clear, especially for anybody who may be watching later online, that this is about the school budget. Don't want you confusing that with the town budget. We're the ones that actually cost people the most money. The town does a very, very good job. Take a look, slide 2, and I think it's really important for people to understand how education funding works in the state of Vermont. When a town passes its budget, that is a bill that goes to Montpelier. When all 119 school districts across the state have passed their budgets and sent their bills to Montpelier, Montpelier adds all that up, gets one big total, and then divides that amount across the taxpayers in the state equally. So when you are paying your school taxes, very little of it has to do with your own local schools. In terms of Ludlow Mount Holly, you are about 1/5 of 1% of the overall education costs in the state of Vermont. That means that more than 99% of what happens in terms of your tax rates here is out of your control. Has to do with all the other districts are doing and what the legislature is doing and the costs that they are incurring. So you have control over what your school budget is when you vote, but you don't have control over what your tax rates are. And so that's really important for people to understand. If we flip over, take a look at the comparison slide. This current year that we are in, the school budget is $10,153,000. What we are doing as we are planning for next year and the budget that we have proposed, it is a level service budget. In other words, we're just trying to maintain what we're doing. We're not asking for anything more, we're not making any cuts, we're just trying to keep things going. So that 2.97% increase is really just the cost due to inflation and cost of living increases and things like that. So we're looking for 10.4 million for next year. Just by comparison, right, the budget change, the increase that we're looking at is 2.97%. New England inflation rate has been 3.1% for the last couple of years. It was 4% this last month.
Assume that's annualized.
Mhm.
Okay.
It used to be pretty good. It used to sit right at 2% for year after year, decade after.
No, I just want to make sure it wasn't monthly.
Yeah.
We didn't have a bad
No.
month.
That's what I'm looking for. It'd be a much sadder story if that were the case. One of the things to recognize is that right now everything is an estimate, and they're usually very, very good estimates, right? Because until the state gets all the tax bills from all the votes, it really doesn't know how much it's got to charge the taxpayers to raise the funding that it's needed. So there is a correction in here from what you're going to be receiving in the booklets, the annual report booklets that were mailed out today. And what I will do is I will email out and also mail out a correction as we get closer to voting time in case things change again. Things actually got a little better from what's in the booklet. So in terms of tax rates, we'll look at Mount Holly because this is Mount Holly Select Board. This current year, tax rates in Mount Holly on the school side of things was $2.01. That means for every $100 of value of your property, you pay $2.01 in taxes to support the education fund. The tax rate that you'd be looking at going into next year is $2.31. So it's a 30-cent increase. Now here's the important piece that we're going to talk about. That 30-cent increase in tax rate, 2 cents of it is due to the education fund. 28 cents of it is due to the common level of appraisal. It's due to the changes in the fair market value in properties in Mount Holly. And that's been the case for a year or two now. The biggest proportion of what you're seeing in terms of increases in taxes on the school side of things is due to changes in fair market values of property. Little explanation here, common level of appraisal. If you take a look at the slide, right, they got a house there, it says listed value $140,000, another house says listed value $210,000, and fair market value $250,000. Town assesses the values of your homes for tax purposes, so let's say your house is assessed at $140,000. The state doesn't take that assessment. What it does is it goes out, it does an annual survey, does an annual study, and it says, okay, based upon our annual study, you're assessed at $140,000, but the fair market value of your home is really $250,000. And the state adjusts the town's tax rates to make sure that you are paying on that full value. So that's what's happening on the CLA side. Question?
Can you go in, I'm not sure anybody knows how they actually calculate, let's assume the fair market value seems correct, are they calculated correctly? How do they come up with that change or the tax they charge? Because when I was thinking about it, you've got $1 million homes at Okemo,
Yep.
but the dollar changes are maybe high, but the percentage change could be small.
Yep.
And it's sort of like, I have never figured
So
out.
it's based on the grand list value when they're taking a look. So basically what they do is they know the grand list value based upon the assessment that the town does. Every year they do a survey, they see what properties are selling for in the town, and based upon that, they make their own assessment, right, that study, about what the grand list value is, all the properties in the town are. And it takes a look at the two, and it puts a number out if you flip over to the other page. So CLA for 2026-27 for Mount Holly. So what their number is they're saying 56.54%. What they're saying when they put that number there is they're saying, oh, based upon our study and where your town is assessed at right now, at the local level, you're only paying taxes on 56% of what the property value of your town is worth. And they want you to pay on that other, what, 34%? Oh, excuse me, 44%. And so they're going to adjust your tax rate to make sure that you are paying on that additional 44%. That's what the CLA does. It's an adjustment to make sure that you are paying taxes on fair market value every year. If that makes sense. Hopefully I'm explaining it well this late at night, but yeah, they make everything as difficult and confusing as possible.
Right.
You are gonna see the greatest shifts in your tax rates due to CLA changes, when the CLA changes from year to year. And if you take a look, you went from 66% this current year, you're going to 56% next year. It's about a 10% drop, right? So when it goes down, it means you're not paying as much as you should by another 10%, so we're gonna charge you even more to make up for that 10% on top of what you're already paying.
Yeah, but it's saying that Ludlow actually, their percentage is higher.
Mhm.
But yet, back on page 3, it's saying due to CLA, it's much lower.
So hold on, so tax rate for,
Tax rate. Yeah.
they're 213. So their shift was 5.66%, they went down. And so their tax rate, the change in their tax rate is lower than your change in tax rate. Right, because their change isn't as great as yours. So what happened with Ludlow is, yeah, the value of their homes went up about 5% relative to where they should be. Yours went up 10%, so your tax rates are gonna be larger than Ludlow's. If I may, tax rate change is gonna be larger than Ludlow's, if I'm making sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So what this means in terms of actual out-of-pocket changes for folks, if you're in Mount Holly, right, and you take a look at the value of your property, and let's say my property's worth $100,000, on every $100,000 in Mount Holly, you would be paying an additional $300 in school taxes. $20 of it is due to changes in the education fund. $280 of it is due to changes in fair market value in the state study. If you have a $300,000 home, you can multiply those numbers by 3. Yeah, it is not good. And again, the problem is we've done the numbers. You could literally shut down your schools, and you're still going to be paying most of this because of how the education funding in the state works. We all pay for each other. Because of that, what you do locally has very little impact on your local taxes. Which is why the state is scrambling around right now with the redistricting efforts and whatnot, because the only way the taxes are going to come down on the school side of things is if everybody does the same thing at the same time, all districts cut. If all districts cut at the same time, taxes will come down. One of the things that happened probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, was you had that gigantic surge in taxes. That was due to a legislative action. Green Mountain especially cut a tremendous amount out of its budget. We cut a lot of positions, cut programs and things like that. And their taxes ended up going up anyway, right? Because it's what the other towns do more than what you do yourselves, right? What we do ourselves is very small. You know, I might be able to make a penny or two change in your tax rate if you did some severe cuts, but that's about the limit of our ability. So again, I am with you. I live in Vermont. I pay taxes here too, and the taxes are obscene. And so the pressure is on the legislature to hopefully, you know, find some relief. They've got a plan in place that will help a little bit. And I don't need to go into the details here, but if people ever want to come to one of the open forums, I'm happy to talk about it. The real problem is how education is funded in the state of Vermont. What they're doing right now will slow down the increases, but you're going to end up in the same spot very shortly after they make those changes that they're making. So, I don't know if there's questions or...
It's troubling that we're continued to drop our CLA. 56% is ridiculous. But one thing I think most town listers need to do, I know you can't chase sales, and when things, but a lot of us years ago wanted to have, I don't think you could pick maybe a number, but when something is selling for a lot more than it was appraised at, that the new grand list figure would be 75% of the sale price, or 90% of the sale price. So the CLA, we wouldn't be falling further and further behind, our grand list would be growing, and it would be honest what we're showing, what things are selling for, stuff. But it affects everybody, because I know but this is a killer, when the CLA goes down, our taxes go up. It's a
Yeah. Well,
It's a catch-22.
and even if you reset it, even if you reassess, because it's based on the fair market value, doesn't mean your taxes are gonna go down.
We can't do it quick enough. We can't
No, it
reassess
just
quick
means
enough.
the rate will go down, but the price of
Yeah.
the property will go up.
But we can't assess quick enough because I think it's not gonna happen. I don't know. This is
You don't have
27 or something.
assessors really in the state, I think there's two, to be able to come in and do the work. So when that big tax increase happened 3 years ago, due to the impact of the implementation of the weighting study that the legislature did, most of the towns in the state were required to reassess, right, if you're a certain percentage.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have the assessors to do it across the entire state.
So that's why
it's very slow.
ours keeps going down.
That's my guess.
More and more people are leaving. They're leaving.
Our town has been due for reassessment, and it was about a 3-year wait, I believe, to actually have the reassessment. So we're due to start this coming year, but it absolutely, there is a long queue, and there are organizations that can contract.
The one positive to take away from it is that the value of your properties have gone up remarkably. So they are worth more someday if you sell. I don't know if there's questions or, and I don't wanna take over your.
Not so much a question. Does the state have anything where they explain how they calculate that CLA change into dollars? That's where I get lost.
Mhm.
I had yet to be able to figure that out.
If you go on to what's the name of the portion? It's under whoever the tax. There's a tax portion of the state website that they'll have the formula up there.
It's the property and valuation
Yeah.
department. You can-
And they'll list all the CLAs and things for the last couple of years, and they'll have an explanation of how to calculate it. It's complicated. You can figure it out.
There's some good spreadsheets on there.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy, Steve.
Yeah, the more complicated it is, the less you understand. I know that system.
So, quick question. So, living here forever, but anyways, when you look at a house, and a house is maybe worth 300,000, and COVID came, and our houses were worth way much more, people were paying for that. So, unfortunately, us as local people, our property value is going up. Our house isn't worth any much more than it was before. How do we make that a level field and not be penalized for these people that are coming into our area and buying property at overpriced?
So you have a very good point. If the legislature changed it so that it was based on your property value and not the grand list, it would solve the problem. But that means that everybody would have a different tax rate. Right? So when they come in to look at a town, right, you've got a bunch of houses that have increased in values and yours has stayed the same. The problem is because they look at it from the total value of the town as a whole, and they make their decisions at that level, you don't get the benefit of the fact that the value of your house has stayed the same. You're impacted by what's happened to the town as a whole.
That needs to be changed for people to stay in the state.
And that would be a legislative change. That's something the legislators would have to do. But that's why it's important that people have these conversations so that they can communicate with their legislators. I've spent some time with them in the last couple of years. They are very good people and they mean well, but they don't understand it any more than most people do. And so, they're making decisions to try to help. But if you don't really have a good grasp of how the education fund in the state of Vermont works, you can actually make it a lot worse really quickly, which is what they did 3 years ago.
Yeah, I just feel bad for the elderly that are living on fixed incomes and their houses are being valued for more than what they're worth, and they're gonna be going without stuff for the education, and it's really sad.
So there is a homestead reimbursement, and that's important. I don't remember what the threshold is. The income threshold's pretty high. It's like 109,000. If you make less than that threshold when you do your taxes, you fill out the homestead piece, and they will rebate. They can rebate a fairly significant portion of your taxes depending upon what your income is. So it switches you to an income-based tax instead of, based on the value of your property.
And it's up to $115,000 in income.
Yeah, so it's a fairly high rate.
Pretty high threshold,
They could, they could.
significant credit can be applied.
I'd still qualify, but
Yeah.
we could go with
So just,
And
I would-
everybody should file their homestead declaration by April 15th if you want it to be applied to your tax bill for July when they are processed. If you go on extension with your taxes, you can still get your homestead declaration filed and file the actual property tax credit piece later if needed, if you have to adjust, but just a reminder to do that when you file your taxes, because that is how that rebate gets passed directly to the town and doesn't create extra administrative work for the taxpayer.
yeah, and it can save thousands on your taxes. There is a threshold, I forgot what it is in terms of what they'll reimburse you up to, but it's a fairly high amount. Yeah, so it is worth it. If you haven't done it in the past, and you're below that income threshold, definitely, put that in when you're doing your taxes.
Thank you.
Just be sure, everybody, to file your HS 122 by April 15th. You mess up the tax bills when you don't file, and then they have to go back and redone and revised. So make sure you file that form by April 15th. It's important.
Okay, moving on
about 60.
to SAM renewal.
That was just to confirm that the SAM has now been renewed. I got the confirmation today, so there shouldn't be any problem with
So we're set.
any of those.
What is SAM?
conflicts.
It's like government.
It's
In order to do grants or anything, you need to have this unique identifier.
It's called the System for Awards Management.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's a federal.
It's an acronym for
Yeah.
getting an ID,
Yes.
getting in a system.
Every year you gotta renew it, and if you don't renew it by that date, and you can't renew it early, because then you just push it up next year, you gotta renew it earlier.
Faith's on top of it.
It's for the federal.
All set, it's renewed. So, okay,
Yesterday.
moving on. Open meeting law annual training. That's me.
Just
It's a reminder for me.
to do it.
Okay. Moving on, update, roads, standards. There is new standards that were sent out. I haven't gone through it all. So,
I did ask Bovey if he'd had a chance to look at it. He'd started.
yeah, I started looking at it, but I have not finished it. So, it was in what, 4C?
Section 5,
So,
drainage crossings.
yeah. So this is, again, this is at a state level. Brian Sanderson, I believe, sent this down.
This is the 2019 one that we have.
Yes.
So I think we've got a,
It's just the new standards that we're gonna have to follow.
seems like culvert diameters, one
Yeah.
18-inch. So
Yeah, they give you minimum of what, 15, and up recommended is an 18-inch culvert. slopes greater than 5%. So this is more for notification that they've upped the standards.
Almost looks like we were already doing it, because it's
We were.
the major changes.
We were at 18 inch.
The major changes to the optional standards, section 4 through 8 apply. But we already had that checked off.
Yeah, I know.
But maybe it's something we revisit in March once we have more time.
Yeah.
Like, because our I mean, it's, maybe we update and adopt a new, clean it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the only new one in this listing is drainage crossings,
Plus 5.
section 5.
Yep, section 5 is the updated one.
Used to be roadway
I
construction.
don't know when we'll have to resubmit, but last time for all of our FEMA reimbursements, we did need to provide our proof that we're following the updated roads and standards, as part of that process, so I don't think we'll be submitting anything until after, probably closer to fall, if we are able to do the Leaker Meadow project, but,
So we just,
I expect we'll need the updated
look at it. We just need to update the town standards to what the state standards are in current format. Okay.
Does that need to go on, there's like the annual financial plan and the mileage cert? Does that need to,
The thing is that when this was sent out, there's nothing about a deadline or
No.
there's nothing that clarifies when it has to happen. So,
It's dated January 21st, 2026,
I mean, that, yeah, but there's nothing saying you must adopt these by.
by a certain date.
I just think for the next meeting, we just update our town standard formats to what the state standards are, then we'll just accept it at that point for the next meeting.
Okay.
and for section 6, we'll just carry what we had on previously with section 5, just for the road thicknesses, no reason to
Yep.
change it. They're leaving it blank to up to us.
Yep. Nope.
That's just road thickness stuff.
Yep, it's just pretty much section 5 of the state standards is what they changed, and we'll update to that section. Okay, old business, 2026 mileage certificate update.
I don't
When
know.
does this one due?
Well, I sent you all the things. I don't know, Jeff, if you were able to
I
make
did
sense
not.
of it.
I did not take a moment to try to make sense of the email chain. And this one is probably due by the end of the month.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, there is a clear instruction from the state regarding Town Highway 37 and an adjustment between the section which is class 3 and the section which is class 4.
It's a 0.31 mile change.
But both Bovey and I looked at it and we couldn't work out how they had come to those figures. That's why we were a bit confused.
You don't have any insight on this, do you? Because
I
I just looked
Yeah.
it up and your name popped up from 2023.
They refer to me as a surveyor,
Yes.
it's giving me way too much credit. I think
Shed
that
any
we had a
light.
question from one of the landowners on that road about where the town, class 3 ended, and I think I asked Bovey, and we talked in the office, and nobody really knew. Somehow it got to, was it Jonathan at the state? But it was many years ago.
Yeah, and then it all came back about a month and a half ago.
The turnaround on the state was like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Isn't it at that over the little bridge?
Well, I don't know, I mean, it's whatever the town says it is, I guess,
Well, we confirmed,
there are records somewhere, how it was laid out, but,
Is this the tier road?
no.
No.
Stewart Road.
I think the question was, and it could be wrong, it's been a while, but I think it was originally by the Connors, they were asking about whether their driveway was on the maintained section or whatever.
And
Really fuzzy, because it's a while ago.
the state, in its recent communication, said, is the break between class 3 and 4 at this point? And we confirmed that yes, it was. And so we thought that it would have no influence on the class 3 and 4 designations. But we did ask how they calculated the figures between the class 3 and 4 sections, and could not understand how they came to the numbers that they came to.
I haven't seen the numbers.
They're saying that it's an increased length of the class 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3-1.
Third of a mile, that's pretty solid. What it says?
Point 3-1.
0.31. There's no change in the class 3.
Oh, it could have been just a math problem then.
Yeah. If there's no changes in 3, but there's a change to 4.
They are seriously
A
little confusion there.
Somebody logged a little bit.
That's sort of rings some bells, like they just had it, 2 and 2 was not adding up to 4. and-
Right.
Yeah.
But what they're suggesting is you change the class 4, but then you calculate the new class 3 mileage by deducting the rise in the class 4. So they are, in theory, everything should come out.
Should come out.
adding up, but,
Yeah, in theory.
But apparently it's,
Hmm?
apparently it's
No.
not. Alright.
So this is the version that was signed before we had the exchange with the state, but Jeff hadn't signed it, and now it requires an adjustment here and here.
Okay, so we need to do a readjustment. Okay.
It's like it got longer in 2002 or something.
Yeah.
Class 3 segment. Yeah.
In 02?
I'm looking through these old emails, yeah. Class 4 was bumped up in 02, so we're bumping it back, just flip-flopping the numbers. So really, it just becomes a question of
The line
there's something to do with the red dot.
The red dot is the distinction between class 3 and class 4 as
Yeah, which is what Wright's, does Wright have that thing at the end? So it's really just, does the road end there?
Yeah.
Or does it
That's
end?
to be confirmed that that was in the correct.
Pretty much ends right at there. I've only
Right
been up
here.
there once, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last meeting, and it ended it.
So if it ends there, a couple years ago. This was 2 years. I know. Okay.
So we just gotta update.
And that's
highway
what I was
mileage.
thinking Jeff would be able to.
Yeah.
6. What arrow?
remeasured.
As they saying it's third of a mile longer, the class 4 section.
Yep.
Because that red dot's at the end of it.
Yeah, they're talking about an arrow, and I'm just trying to make sure I follow this. The total miles we mapped to the yeah. So, flip flop.
Yeah, we just have to.
So do we need a motion?
It wants, from the minutes of the meeting, they want,
To reflect the change on the highway map
yep.
from,
Yeah, so we'll need a motion.
okay, let's not mess this up. Let's see. I'll make a motion to reclassify TH 37, class 3 to 1.52 miles and class 4 to 0.64. Somebody's gonna look back 20 years from now and wonder why. So you'll have to explain in the notes why we're making the change. But it does line up with the spot, that change will make it line up with the end of that driveway at the Wright Construction Building.
Yeah, and I'll second the motion. The ayes?
Aye.
Aye. There, now we can get this updated, re-signed, and resubmitted.
Okay, moving on, citizens, comments, citizens' concerns.
I had a citizen comment. I attended a disaster preparedness, sub-region disaster preparedness meeting with Billy, fire chief, and it was with Shrewsbury, Wallingford, Clarendon, and one other town. And it was a 3-hour meeting, and it just was a good discussion. Just we did some like practice sessions with what to do, what resources we could share, what resources they could share, and it was a good experience. And just wanted to share that those conversations like that help prepare for when there is a disaster. So
That was on the 4th.
that was on the 4th, yeah. And us having our fire department having that off-road rescue and swiftwater rescue kind of was a highlight, I think, for the sub-region for sure. It wasn't something anybody else could offer, so it was a proud moment to say that we had that person.
That capability.
Yeah.
Any other? Okay, announcements. Dog license registration deadline, April 1st. Town office will be closed on February 16th for President's Day. Again, we struggle with the dog licenses, and I know I've preached it last time. Please, if you have your furry friends, please get them registered. Last year, we fought tooth and nail to get them all registered, and we've had multiple dog bite incidences from unregistered dogs. So please, help us, help you.
Get them vaccinated.
Get them vaccinated, get the rabies shots, get them registered. It protects you and the dog. So, thank you. Okay, review and sign orders.
Do we need an executive session? I have nothing.
I don't think so. I think we discussed it earlier.
Okay, no executive session needed. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and drive safe.